Hey everybody. Sorry, let me get this thing on the mount here. There we go. Maybe we'll raise this up just a little bit. There we go. This tripod sucks. Feels like it's about to fall over. Alright everybody. Now that we've gone past the earthquake at the beginning of the stream, I wanted to do this one today just to talk a little bit about the current state of the knife collection. Getting everything set up here. Sorry about that, guys. Trying to get to my chat. Alright, so in front of us we have a little spread here. These are just kind of the knives I'm keeping in my showcase right now. I have some others that I'm going to be putting up for sale soon. And oh, thanks Jack and Chan, appreciate that, man. So yeah, a few of these are going to go up for sale soon. We've got some new stuff coming in the collection, and generally I'm just kind of trying to move stuff around right now because the market is getting really hot, and a lot of the knives are going up in price, especially on this end of the table with these Vietnam era knives. So in case you haven't seen the videos, these here are 6-inch Camillus Jet Pilot survival knives. Right here we have the 1968 Gerber Mark II. This is an early one. Right here we have the Case V42 Stiletto. That's a World War II knife, and a very rare knife. And then right here we've got a M1939 Pugnale, Italian fascist dagger. This one here is my grandfather's knife. This one was handmade in our hometown, and he carried that one in the Pacific. And then this one here is a new Commando I just picked up. These were PX knives back during World War II, but the collector's market on them is really interesting because I see these Parkerized ones. This one, granted, isn't in the greatest shape and has, someone pointed out, a strange, it almost looks like the Bright Commando pommel on it. But back to what I was saying, these knives have been going up in price like crazy. You used to be able to pick these up all day long with a nice sheath for like 50 bucks. And now on eBay I'm seeing them go for like $100, $200. Kind of insane since this was never even actually issued. Albeit one of the coolest World War II knife designs in my opinion. The Commando, especially the Bright, I actually like better because of the fuller in the blade. But that Bakelite on the handle is just like so cool to me. I'm just a sucker for Bakelite, so this one's neat too because somebody customizes it there with a little X. Always like used looking stuff, so really happy to have gotten that one in. But for now, I guess I'll just go into some of the stuff I'm looking at getting and maybe some of the stuff I'm looking at getting rid of. So the first thing I'm probably going to get rid of is going to be this 6-inch pilot's knife. I have two of them, obviously, and I don't really need this one. The condition is fair. It's solid, you know, there's no wiggle in the guard or anything like that, but it's not as nice as my other one. So I figure I'll get rid of it while the going's good. I picked this one up at a gun show for very little comparatively, so that will free up some space in my showcase and also allow me to reinvest that money into another knife, which I can't like throw up a picture because we're live right now, but what I'm looking at buying is an aluminum handled Milpar Jet Pilot survival knife, which came out around the early 60s as a solid cast aluminum grip, pommel, and guard. Very unique looking knife. If I can find a photo of one, I'll throw one up in my next video. I've got a 5-inch Jet Pilot survival knife coming in, so I'll throw one up in that video because it is the same knife. It just has a solid aluminum handle, which is just kind of crazy. I love one-offs and prototypes and things like that, so really excited for that one to hopefully come through. Um, I'm thinking honestly too about getting rid of the V42. A lot of you guys, I don't think I've even mentioned it on the channel. Hold on, let me scoot that down just a little bit. I don't think I mentioned it on the channel, but I did sell the Mac VSOG Bowie knife. Gosh, it hurts to even say that because that knife was by far my favorite in the collection. It was one that I had worked really hard to get, and sold basically like everything I had at the time. Which wasn't much, you know. Like, I bought that knife when I, just started collecting. It was a huge investment for me, even though I got it for an amazing price. And just owning it, and all the work that was put into it, and the scarcity of those knives, it was really sad to see it go. But life works the way it does, and I had to clear up some funds to make more purchases basically, and just keep moving forward with my collection and my kind of small business basically of buying and selling militaria. So yeah, that was a huge loss to the collection, and man, like, I can't even think about it without being sad. So my plan right now, hopefully, is I've been in contact with some auction houses, some large international militaria auction houses, and I think we might have the V42 go to one of those. At this point, it's not about making money on this knife. It's really, it's just so far beyond everything in my collection. Like, this knife alone, I could buy 10 sets of every other knife. What's up, Warrior Wolf? So it's a huge liability to own this thing. As you can see, I try to be as careful as I possibly can with it. I don't even like to touch it without gloves. It's just like, it's a scary thing to own when you have something like that. Hey man, I'm really glad you popped in. I'm just kind of talking about the future right now with what I'm going to do with these, hopefully. So, but yeah, so huge liability. It's worth a ton of money. I think I'm going to have to get rid of it because my thought basically is, like, if I sell this thing for what I believe it's worth, what I believe the legacy of this item should bring, it'll bring in enough money for me to diversify and kind of lean back towards the Vietnam militaria that I started off with. World War II stuff is really cool, and there'll always be a huge market for it and a huge collector's circle, but I just genuinely am more interested in the design and technology of the Vietnam War. I just think it's really cool comparatively within the collector's market. The 60s was just an amazing era for design and technology, and all things aside, the outcomes and the costs of the Vietnam War, which were obviously horrible, and mad respect to everyone out there who lived through that, especially those that participated. But I'm getting on a tangent now. It's hard not to do that live. So yeah, I want to clear this out, man, and maybe buy a couple more SOG knives if I can get them. That's the problem with those things. When I went to Show of Shows this year, I went with the express intent to purchase another SOG knife for my collection, so that if I needed to sell my numbered SOG, it wouldn't leave this void in the collection. Out of the 80,000 square feet of militaria, knife, gun exhibitors with pretty much everything for sale, there wasn't a single SOG knife available. Not a single one. There was one guy that had one, or had one, that was very much a fake. It was one of the Indian fakes of the Iron Guard SOGs, and he was asking like $4,000 for it. So it's just impossible to find them basically, and when they show up, they get bought immediately at ridiculously high prices. I don't know if it's like very couth to even mention it, but like, I like I said, worked so hard for my SOG knife. When I finally did settle on a price, it was with a buyer that I trusted to take good care of it and to respect the legacy and, you know, really, really maintain it well. And they ended up paying me nearly 5 times what I paid for it. Like, you know, and we're not talking, you know, 20-30 bucks. It's like is hundreds and hundreds of dollars that I had paid, and then, you know, beyond that. So the value just keeps going up and the interest just keeps going up. So I think that's the right way to take it. So anyways, if anybody knows anybody before it goes into auction that is interested in a knife that is worth about as much as a new Japanese compact car, let me know and I will be happy to send them all the information and provenance and everything that I have here on this knife. So moving on, let's look a little bit more, I guess, while I'm still here, because I can't stream for super long today, but let's look a little bit more at this M1939, because when I made that video, I had just unboxed it. I was really excited to get it because I've never even held an Italian World War II knife, or even really seen one for sale. I hope you got a nice safe for things worth that much. Yeah, man, right now it usually stays in a safety deposit box. It has been here in my house with me, you know, in a fire safe box, obviously with my own personal security too, but I've kept it here for a while because I've been doing videos on it, taking pictures and researching and such. But yeah, typically it lives in a safety deposit box. It's, like I said, it's kind of uncomfortable to even own something like this in a certain way. I mean, it's a beautiful piece of history, and like it's just amazing to like look at it and hold it, but again, you know, it's like it's kind of uncomfortable. I can't really just like take it out places, or, you know, let people just look at it freely or all sorts of things. It's like you got to be careful. So yeah, anyways, back to this one. I'm still looking for more information on these. I really, my biggest curiosity right now is who the makers of these knives were, and also what the differences in the handles mean, because like I said in the video, I had noticed that there were multiple different handles for these knives. Some of them are marked GIL, which apparently was an Italian fascist youth group similar to the Hitler Youth. And some of them have a more like molded handle, and I don't know if that's just because of like primitive, or not primitive, but, you know, scattered manufacturing, or what, like, you know, different contractors. But definitely want more information on this one. It's just such a cool thing. It's so freaking huge. I mean, like, look at this. It's gigantic. It's unnecessarily large compared to the other knives. Like, this one is, my granddad's knife is heavy and huge, you know, big old like Bowie knife, but this thing just makes it feel like light as day. I can't imagine. It feels almost more like a sword, you know, in your hand with the grip and everything. So I can't really imagine this being the most like effective knife necessarily, especially in close, super close quarters, with it being as big as it is. It's like a little cumbersome, but yeah. Another addition that might be coming soon, again, I haven't confirmed these yet, beyond the aluminum handled Jet Pilot survival knife, is going to be a North Vietnamese manufactured dagger. Those, again, are kind of tough to come by, and when you do find them, it's a little bit sketchy because there's a lot of fake and civilian purchase and just like weird stuff coming out of Southeast Asia, especially in the late 70s and early 80s in relation to the Vietnam War. So you gotta be really careful buying those, but I found one that I think is legit locally. It was a legit veteran bringback, so I think I'm gonna pick that one up pretty soon if I can get it for the right price. It does have some significant you know, sentimental value to him, and I always try to be really respectful of that when I'm purchasing people's items direct. So kind of in the process of that one. Good man, it's all about provenance. Grand Zone presentation grand went for $280K a few years back. Yeah, that is kind of insane. Actually, in relation to that, pretty much the exact same thing with this. I believe it was like the son of the original founder of Case, or the grandson perhaps, that was running case at the time of the creation of the V42s. Kept one for his own personal collection at the Case Museum, and that one was recently sold by St. Croix Blades, I believe, for 15,000. Now, that's where it gets a little hazy, because obviously owning the knife that belonged to a Case, like a Case V42 that belonged to the CEO and grandson of the founder of Case at the time of their creation, is some pretty incredible provenance, I would say, just as a knife collector. But as someone who collects militaria, I believe that the value is a lot higher in the battle provenance, the actual use provenance of the item. So this one, being as it was carried and owned by a member of the 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 101st Airborne, jumped in D-Day into Normandy, actually was captured for a few days by Germans and escaped, went back to fighting, went on to fight in the Ardennes and Bastogne, was injured in Bastogne, brought back to Germany again to lead into the final invasion of Germany, and ended up at Hitler's house in the Eagle's Nest, writing a letter home at the end of the war. So it was basically like, Band of Brothers timeline with one of the most, if not the most prolific fighting knives of the 20th century. So in my mind, that makes this knife worth a lot of money, I think, personally. I think that it should bring as much within the militaria collecting circles as a knife that has no actual use provenance, but was, a perfect example owned by someone as famous as one of the Case men. So that was the long tangential explanation of this knife, kind of abridged provenance and my logic behind the sales price. So again, that's up in the air right now. We're not really sure when that's gonna go to market, or if I will, or just whatever. It's kind of, like I said, it's kind of scary to own something like this. So anyways, guys, I've been kind of rambling here. If anyone has any questions about any of the knives, let me know. Otherwise, I just wanted to give this update. This live stream will be saved on my channel, unfortunately, because I rambled so much in this. So if you're watching this in the future, I'm sorry for all the delays, like the one that's happening currently. Might as well show the Mark II one more time, because this is also one that I don't think I'll sell this one, just because, again, it's kind of similar to the SOG knife and how I got it, and it means a lot to me personally right now. But this is another one where the numbers just keep going down and the prices keep going up. It is kind of insane. Do I have many bayonets? No, actually, I own one bayonet, basically. It is a Japanese Type 99 bayonet. I can grab it right quick just to show you guys. Particular fan of early sword type bayonets. This is the only bayonet I own, and it's in almost relic condition, as you can see. Obviously this is just a scabbard. The grip is cracked and rusted. This was actually found on a beach in Guam in about 1946 by UDT diver and salvage master George Taylor, who I have a lot of his stuff. These came with the Arisaka rifles that he also recovered. And I have oiled it and I haven't really tried to restore much of this at all, because, I I like the way it looks, but I also want to preserve it. So if you have any suggestions, obviously probably should try to buff out this rust and stuff on it. But it does stay oiled and everything, so I'm hoping that'll at least sort of preserve it. Cool part about this one too is that despite it being all like rusted and nasty, the lock here, or the mechanism to lock it onto the gun, actually still works just fine. And this one does fit pretty perfectly onto the couple of Type 99s that I have. And again, I'm not a huge expert or collector of bayonets, but I do know that this curved little guard here, this little like hook guard, this was apparently an earlier bayonet. That's all I know. The last stitches are just straight. And then obviously the arsenal marking is right there. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it must be Nagoya or Kokura. One of the two. I don't have the identification sheet with me right now, but it's not a super rare one. Just carefully put this back in the sheath. It is like, I mean, if I clean this up, you know, honestly, it would be a really nice piece because it's super solid, but again, I don't do much restoration. I prefer to just kind of keep things in their original condition. So anyways, guys, appreciate everyone tuning in. Wanted to make this just a short little live stream this weekend. I was about to head down to the Houston gun show, but ended up not because of the weather. So next weekend I might head to a gun show and do a live stream there, just looking around. It's been kind of scarce with the military recently, but we'll see what we can find. And I also want to do a video soon heading down to Houston for an overview of the awesome gun store down there called Collector's Firearms. So if you want to check out a great store for authentic militaria and stuff like that, definitely check out Collector's Firearms. It's touted as the best damn gun shop in the world, and I honestly think that they might be pretty accurate with that claim. Honestly, if it's restoration, I'd just get a copy, buffing out the rust and grime, buffs out the history. Yeah, man, I agree. Werewolf. That is how I try to treat these things. I try to clean them with light oil and preserve them, but not take away from the experiences that they've already obviously been through. So that's why, you know, buying perfectly preserved, perfect pieces is awesome, but it just really doesn't hold the same weight, you know, unless you've got some great provenance or something. So but anyways, guys, I'm gonna hop off. It's been great live streaming and talking to you. Really appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks to Jack and Chan, and especially Warrior Wolf for the riveting conversation and questions there. And I'm happy that you mentioned this bayonet because I honestly don't ever think about it, man. So happy to show this to you. I didn't think it was worth making a video on because there are plenty of references for these online, but again, yeah, pretty cool piece now that I'm really looking at it. So have a great day, y'all. Have a great Sunday. Relax. I'll be back next week with another video. Again, some new stuff coming in, and yeah, I really appreciate all the love and support, y'all. Have a good one. Oh, this is always awkward because it's on the mount. All right, have a good one, guys.